Welcome to the deep dive. You sent over a really fascinating stack of sources this week, all centered on this one company that's trying to redefine the whole human-machine relationship.
Literally. They say their goal is to teach computers how to be human.
Yeah. So today we're doing a deep dive into Tavus, an AI research lab that just pulled in a pretty hefty $40 million Series B led by CRV.
And that mission statement you mentioned, building AI humans, it's not really about just making fancy avatars. It's about getting to true simulation.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, they're completely dedicated to teaching a machine not just how to look like a person, but how to see, hear, respond, and, act with all that human nuance.
So we're moving way beyond just smart algorithms here.
Oh, yeah. This is about teaching them behavior.
And that leads right into the big takeaway from the sources. These are not just advanced chatbots with a nice video slapped on top.
Not at all.
They're what they call agentic AI humans, modeled after real people like this one they call Charlie. And the key thing is they're always on.
Right. Always on. So you can interact with them through video or audio or text, and they're designed to react in real time.
React to what exactly?
To your facial expressions, your emotional cues. It makes the whole interaction feel less like you're using a tool and, I don't know, more like you're talking to a coworker.
Yeah.
Or a friend even.
The agentic part is really the leap, isn't it?
That's what makes the investment so compelling. They showed this one demo where the AI human was asked to check a schedule.
Okay.
And when it was told that the live recording was running a bit long, the agent didn't just sit there and wait for the next command.
It did something on its own.
It did. It took that context, proactively drafted, and then just sent an email to the next meeting's attendees.
No way.
Yeah, telling them the product meeting was going to be delayed by 50 minutes.
That's honestly a little bit spooky.
In a good way, maybe?
Yeah, in the best way. I mean, if my AI assistant is taking context, figuring out what I need, and then just managing my calendar for me, it's not just assisting anymore.
It's taking ownership.
Exactly. It's moving from reactive support to real independent action.
It's a massive shift in capability.
So if they're building these AI employees that are this good, who is actually using them and what for?
Well, the customer base is surprisingly broad.
Right.
It's everyone from these small, scrappy startups all the way up to huge Fortune 10 companies.
The sources named a few, right?
They did. Names like Amazon, Better.com, Alibaba,
Yeah.
all using these foundational models to kind of staff their digital workforce.
And the sources broke it down into three main categories where these AI employees are being hired.
Yeah, the three buckets.
Let's go through them because they really show the range of problems these things are being built to solve.
So the first big one is learning and development. Think about it. Really high-fidelity training simulations. The AI can play the role of a difficult client, maybe, or a junior employee who needs coaching.
And it gives instant feedback.
Instant, personalized feedback. Then the second area is healthcare.
Which is a huge category.
It's huge. It covers everything from routine stuff like patient intake to more personalized services like nutrition coaches, and then into this really sensitive area of elderly companionship.
Okay, putting those two side by side, corporate training versus companionship, that really shows you the complexity, doesn't it?
It really does.
Why is that healthcare piece, especially companionship, so much harder for an AI than, say, teaching a salesperson how to sell a product?
It all comes down to the depth of the emotional modeling that's required.
Right.
A sales pitch, it follows a pretty predictable script. But companionship or patient intake, that requires a genuine simulation of empathy.
So if an elderly person is, I don't know, speaking slowly or looks distressed.
Exactly. The AI human has to not only get the words, but process all those nonverbal cues instantly and then change its own tone, its own pace. That needs incredibly powerful perception models.
Which is why they had to become a research lab in the first
It's
place.
just the core of it, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And the third bucket?
That's the go-to-market category. So you're talking automated customer-facing roles.
Like sales.
AI sales development reps or AI solutions engineers who can troubleshoot on the fly, and even customer support managers for high-volume stuff. The founders said that their customers are building things they never even would have imagined.
That range is really impressive. But it does make me wonder, how did a company that was all about, AI personalized videos?
Right.
How did they suddenly pivot to building foundational models for elderly care?
It's a great question.
The sources say they were kind of OGs in AI, right? Started back in 2020, 2021, before the whole generative AI thing exploded. They were in the summer 21 YC batch.
And that origin story is so important because the tech they had back then basically dictated their business. In 2021, large language models weren't everywhere like they are now.
So their first product was?
It was AI personalized video using something called lip sync infill.
I remember that. It was pretty groundbreaking at the time. You record one video saying like, hey, name, saw you worked at company.
And the system would just spit out thousands of versions, swapping in all the different names and companies. But it looked perfect. Like you said, every single one.
So they were basically a very successful AI sales company. They had a real product market fit.
They had huge momentum.
Yeah.
But then came this critical moment right after their Series A. They had to ask themselves a really tough question.
Which was?
Are we just going to keep building on top of our sales tool? Or are we going to step back and build the deep foundational models for what they called human computing?
And they made this incredible leap of faith.
A profound one. They realized their team's real strength, their DNA, was in deep research, not in scaling a sales app.
So they just stopped.
They made the decision to pull back. They deliberately churned existing customers.
Wow, that's a massive risk when you have investors.
A huge risk.
Okay.
But they went all in on the research, offering their models just as an API and an SDK.
They sacrificed short-term money for long-term tech dominance.
Exactly. They went from being a vendor selling a product to a foundational research lab that powers other companies. And to do that, they had to solve a really fundamental problem.
Let me guess. Perception.
They had to go beyond just rendering a face, which they were already great at, to achieving true perception.
Okay, let's get into that technical dance, because I think for you listening, that word, perception, it's the whole game, isn't it?
It is the step function difference.
Yeah.
If your goal is realistic human interaction, the machine has to learn to see and interpret the world like a human does.
No, because we don't just communicate with words.
Not at all. We convey so much meaning through expressions, little microgestures. We basically speak with our faces. And older models just threw all that data away.
So the Tavus models are built specifically to capture and understand that stream of data, teaching the machine the grammar of our behavior.
Precisely. Their perception models are trying to make meaning out of all those complex, fleeting signals. It means teaching the machine the relationship between what was said, how it was said, and the look in your face.
So they're actually modeling what a subtle eyebrow twitch means in the context of a sentence.
Or a slight smile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how that maps to the conversation.
Which means they are essentially building human conversational behavior from scratch.
That's why they call their core research human simulation models. The goal is to simulate entire natural conversations and reactions that feel real.
And that's how you get to something sophisticated enough for elderly care or complex training.
You have to have that depth.
But what's so fascinating is that all of this amazing, nuanced modeling is completely worthless if the machine takes too long to respond.
Right.
Which brings up the low latency requirement. How hard is it to get under that 200 millisecond barrier?
It's the ultimate technical challenge. I mean, a good natural human conversation happens in less than 200 milliseconds. Back and forth.
If there's a delay, you notice it immediately.
Instantly. If the AI pauses for even, say, 400 or 500 milliseconds, the whole illusion just shatters. You're back to talking to a robot.
And to do all that processing, read the face, interpret tone, run it through the behavior model, and then render a response in under 200 milliseconds.
It requires completely proprietary, super optimized neural networks. It's basically a speed war, and the rules are set by human social dynamics.
I love the analogy they used in the sources to describe this whole thing.
The dance one.
Yeah. They said human conversation is an art, it's a dance, a waltz, and for years, machines were just in the corner doing the robot.
And their goal is to teach the machine the waltz. It's a perfect way to put it.
It really captures that move from rigid scripted replies to something fluid and adaptive.
And now that they've built the foundational models that can waltz, they're ready for the next big thing.
Which is the launch of Tavus Pals. This is where they move beyond just being an API for developers.
Right now they're targeting regular consumers and promers, the prosumer market.
They see this as a huge shift, right? Like moving from the old command line era of computing to the graphical user interface.
That's the framing. For years, only developers who could code could build these AI humans. Now they're making a simple, consumer-friendly UI so anyone can do it.
And these pals, they're proactive. You can video call them. They're multimodal.
And they have all that low latency perception and emotional intelligence we were just talking about, all baked in from their years of research.
Which all serves their bigger strategic vision.
Solving what they call the human convenience problem.
Making a computer feel like a coworker.
Or a friend. They want to enable that true sci-fi vision of AI doctors, therapists, assistants like Jarvis or Cortana.
And the scale they're shooting for is just, it's 100 billion interactions.
It's staggering.
But okay, if we're going to talk about AI doctors and therapists, we have to talk about the concerns, job displacement, the ethics of it all. We have to be critical here.
Of course. It's a very complex area, and the company has a specific viewpoint on this that was in the sources.
How do they frame it?
They frame it around quality and access. Their argument is that the primary goal isn't to replace competent humans. It's to replace the bad machines that are already giving us terrible, dehumanizing experiences.
That's a powerful reframing. But let's push on that. Are they saying there's no risk to jobs like customer service managers, or is it more of a justification that the overall good outweighs any short-term loss?
They do acknowledge the shift, but they keep pointing back to the bad quality that already exists right now.
For example?
For example, think about calling customer support. You get stuck in a frustrating phone tree or you deal with a terrible chatbot.
We've all been there.
Right. So an AI human intake assistant that can actually see your expression, understand you're anxious, and then take the time to explain things in a human voice. That would be a much, much better experience than what we have now.
So it's AI versus a broken machine, not AI versus a perfect human.
That's the argument. And that changes the whole calculation for you, the listener.
It does. And what was their second point?
The access argument. They say that the fear of, say, AI therapy replacing a human therapist often comes from a privileged approach.
What does that mean?
It means that for millions of people around the world, they just can't afford a human therapist or they can't access specialized care. For them, the alternative isn't a human professional. It's nothing.
So providing an AI experience that's, I don't know, 80 or 90% as good.
It's special because it's filling a massive void. It's giving people who are left out access to some kind of care rather than just replacing professionals in markets that are already well served.
That's their position. It's about accessibility.
Exactly.
This whole journey from a niche sales tool to this foundational research lab, it really shows a company that is just defined by conviction.
Absolutely.
What were the main lessons the founders took away from that whole process?
They pointed to two cultural cornerstones. The first was deep conviction. They really stressed that you have to have this profound belief in your vision, especially when everyone outside is telling you you're wrong.
That pivot must have been so painful, walking away from revenue.
But they saw the research as a form of love, something they just couldn't give up on.
It takes a lot of courage to kill momentum you've already built. What was the second cornerstone?
Simply momentum. The belief that the only thing that really matters is that you are always moving forward.
Every day.
Something has to happen every single day, big or small, to keep that velocity going. If you're not moving, you're stagnant.
That whole philosophy, that speed and conviction, it's captured in their company motto. It's a bit dramatic, but it definitely explains their intensity.
It's faster, faster until the thrill of speed overcomes the fear of death.
There it is. And that speed is what let them go from simple lip syncing to building these incredibly advanced perception models.
The ones that power agentic AI humans today.
So we've established that these AI humans are being taught the super intricate relationship between something as simple as an eyebrow twitch and the context of a conversation. They're building human simulation models. So here's a final thought for you to mull over. If these machines are being taught to flawlessly mimic and react instantly to every little nuance of human emotional signaling, what happens to our communication? Will we start to become, unconsciously less tolerant of the awkward pauses, the flawed responses, or just the simple delays of actual imperfect human beings?
That's the essential question, isn't it? If the machine becomes the new gold standard for empathy and perfect responsiveness, are we teaching the machine how to be a better human? Or is the machine teaching us to expect impossible standards from each other?
Something to watch as that line between human and AI just keeps getting blurrier.
It really is.
A lot to think about. Thanks for helping us take this deep dive into the future of human computing.
My pleasure.